Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Beth. I am a photographer and encaustic artist living in Dayton, Ohio, and I'm really honored to be part of this beautiful exhibition. I want to give you a little bit of my background simply because I think that so informs my work. I was born and raised in Southern Ohio on a little dirt road located on a place called Tick Ridge. So that sounds pretty Appalachian. The house I grew up in was and is, it's located to the Little Scioto River. It was surrounded by 7 acres of wooded hills and just smack dab right in the middle of a bunch of dairy farms. I'm the youngest child of my family, had 2 older brothers who were much older. And so I pretty much grew up as an only child. Because we lived so far out in the country, none of my friends' parents wanted to bring my friends over to my house to play with me. So consequently, I spent many, many hours just freely roaming and playing in the fields and the hills around the house. Nobody ever really checked on me or was worried about me. So I had free reign and would be gone for hours. And just this time of play was the root of my love for countryside and nature. And it informs and it's the impetus for my current work. And when I was 6, my dad gave me a camera. It was like a real grown-up camera, an Argus C3. And he had a dark room and he let me help him while he was developing photos. And that was kind of the beginning of my interest in photography. So after I graduated from high school, I went to Ohio University, got BFA there, met my husband there, and we moved to Dayton and raised a family. And after my kids were raised, I began volunteering a lot, and I got a job at the Dayton Art Institute in the education department. And there I developed workshops and tours and things like that. And one of the workshops that I developed that was really popular with the kids involved one that used melted paraffin. I'm sure there was some element of danger of being able to use something that was hot and smoky and waxy. And I guess I was just interested in caustic at that time as well. I just didn't know how to use the process or do it properly. So anyway, once I retired from there, I was at home, of course, and I just started looking more closely at nature and everything that surrounded me and took the time to look at things more carefully. And we're fortunate that our home is surrounded by really mature trees. And I looked at those a lot. I looked at the sunsets that I just never seemed to notice before, I guess because I was raising my family or working. And it's like, wow, this is great. Just nature really spoke to me so much that in the fall, well, where I'm from originally in Southern Ohio, we never raked our leaves or picked up things in the fall from the trees. But I just loved the fallen leaves, the sticks, and often gathered them and used them for my artwork. So when I did start creating my own artwork after working, I revisited the idea of the encaustic. I started dabbling in the process, and I used paraffin as my medium and crayons as a colorant, just like I did at the museum. My early work involved using leaves and materials from nature to embed on like canvas boards, and I would use the paraffin to cover them. Fortunately, I had a friend who was an encaustic artist who was kind enough to teach an encaustic workshop for a few friends and me. And I finally grew to understand the proper materials used for the process. I learned about refined beeswax, cradled encaustic board, and pan pastels. And I still loved photography, but I just was not interested in the process that you had to engage in a dark room. So I started using my iPhone for photos. I really enjoyed the immediacy of the iPhone, just the ability to capture a moment in time. I began taking images out my car window while passing farmland or other things that interested me. And I would take these images and print them and use the photographs as a substrate for my work. I would put these photos on the encaustic board and apply wax over the top of the photo. I would use brush strokes and tools to scrape into the wax to create detail. I would use pan pastels and a heat gun to enhance the images, to highlight forms or shape or light. And I came to realize that the reason I create my artwork is just to bring attention to the beauty of nature, and such as the farmlands of Appalachia. And I feel that these resources are really fragile. They're quickly disappearing due to choices we make as humans. And my work is both a documentation of nature and farmlands, and just a call to preserve them. And that's all I have to say. Again, thank you for letting me be part of this talk and this exhibition. It's beautiful, and I've really enjoyed listening to everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Beth. I just realized I didn't flip through your other images, so I'm going to do so. Okay. Sorry.
Well, I'm the last one, so it's easy to forget. So these are just other images that I took, shots out my window of my car, and processed them and made